1:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Romesh Piris and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. The Chinese president stresses the need for fair and transparent environment for Chinese companies to invest in Sri Lanka. The chief prelate of Kotte states the incumbent president can successfully implement reforms through own mandate. The ADB says Sri Lanka shows signs of recovery but must maintain reform momentum. The registration for the 2024 electoral register is underway. The Department of Excise to launch a special operation in Colombo City during Aurudu. The Vasat Syria 2024 celebration for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year to take place at the Shangri-La Green Golf Ace, Colombo. International news, the US President vows ironclad support for Israel amid Iran attack fears. In sports, World Athletics introduces $50,000 prize money for the Olympic gold medalists. Chinese President Xi Jinping, in his recent meeting with Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, has reportedly stressed the need for fair and transparent environment for Chinese companies to invest in Sri Lanka. The Chinese leader had further mentioned that China is not happy about its friends being influenced by other countries unnecessarily when taking decisions. However, the Chinese president did not refer to any third country in his remarks. The Prime Minister recently undertook a tour of China between 25th and 30th of March to attend the Bao Forum Asia BFA Annual Conference 2024. Meanwhile, during a separate meeting, Chinese President Li Qiang has raised concerns about Sri Lanka announcing a moratorium on foreign research vessels in its exclusive economic zone targeting Chinese ships while entertaining a similar vessel from Germany in between. Premier Gunawardena has reportedly responded stating Sri Lanka allowed the German vessel only for replenishment. The chief prelate Mahanayaka of the Kotte, Sri Kalani Samagri Dharma Mahasangha Sabha of the Siam Mahanikaya, Venerable Dr. Ittapane Dharmalankara Arunayaka Mahathera, said the incumbent President Ranil Wickremesinghe can implement reforms successfully if he receives a mandate of his own at a future presidential election. The Thero made this remark when the UNP deputy leader and presidential advisor Ruwan Wijewardena met him earlier today. The Thero expressed that one cannot bring about reforms through votes received by others and added that the incumbent president is the most politically mature candidate in the next presidential poll. The Asian Development Bank says its annual flagship economic publication, the Asian Development Outlook April 2024, has projected Sri Lanka's economy to record moderate growth of 1.9% in 2024 and 2.5% in 2025 following 2 consecutive years of contractions. According to the publication, Sri Lanka is showing signs of recovery, with green shoots emerging in the second half of 2023. Inflation has decelerated to single digits, foreign exchange reserves continue to build up, and the exchange rate has appreciated. Meanwhile, tourist arrivals and remittance inflows continue to show a commendable recovery, while supply conditions have improved. ADB's growth forecast hinges on the continuation of reforms and better consumer and business sentiment. Timely completion of external debt restructuring will also support Sri Lanka's debt sustainability efforts, the Regional Development Bank underscored. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
At People's Bank, we empower your pride. People's Bank, pride of the nation.
The Department of Excise is planning to launch a special operation in Colombo during the 2 festive dry days targeting illegal booze sellers and to implement laws strictly during the Sinhala and Tamil New Year period. A senior excise official overseeing the Colombo city said that a joint operation has been organized in collaboration with 4 main excise stations in Kasbayawa, Padukka, Batramulla and the Colombo city. As a result, over 50 officials deployed in several teams will be patrolling the greater Colombo area in search of lawbreakers who would sell liquor defying excise orders on the 12th and 13th of April. A special operation will be conducted by the Assistant Excise Commissioner Jayantha Silva of Colombo City on the instructions of the Excise Commissioner General M.J. Gunasiri. The Vasat Syria 2024 celebration for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year will take place on Saturday, the 27th of April, at the Shangri-La Green Golf Face, Colombo. This event, organised by the Welfare Society of the Presidential Secretariat, along with other ministries, will be held from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. with a number of New Year games and competitions. The festivities will continue with the Vasat Syria Miasi musical concert, which will commence at 7 p.m. at the venue with the participation of famous singers. All applicants must be unmarried individuals aged between 18 and 30 years. Completed application should be submitted via WhatsApp number 077-155-7146 before 3 p.m. on the 20th of April. And that ends local news for now.
Right decisions with noble intentions bring pride to you and the nation. At People's Bank, we empower your pride. People's Bank, pride of the nation.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The registration for the 2024 electoral register is currently underway. The Commissioner General of Elections, Samantri Ratnayaka, says if an individual has not registered to the 2024 electoral register, they can register themselves until the 6th of May. Registrations will be made possible through the Grama Nilgiri officers, the election office and the official website of the Election Commission, and that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
In Watchlight this afternoon, the government has declared Monday, the 15th of April, as a public holiday. The decision was taken as the oil anointing ceremony of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year festival falls on that day. This was communicated by the Secretary of the Ministry of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government, Pradeep Vyasaratne, and that was Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
The headlines first. The US President vows ironclad support for Israel and Iran attack fears. Arizona pushes abortion to center stage before the US election. And Qatar Airways avoid Australian lawsuit over women's invasive examinations. President Joe Biden has promised Israel ironclad U.S. support amid fears that Tehran could launch reprisals for an attack that killed senior Iranians. Mr. Biden warned that Iran is threatening to launch a significant attack after Israel struck the Iranian consulate in Syria 10 days ago. Early on Wednesday, Iran's leader said the Israeli attack in Damascus was equivalent to an attack on Iran itself. Israel has not claimed responsibility for the attack, but is widely considered to have been behind it. The US and Israeli forces in the region have been put on high alert in the days since. Mr. Biden's remarks came as he was speaking to journalists at the White House on Wednesday alongside Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. The Arizona Supreme Court on Tuesday pushed the abortion issue to center stage in a state that could be pivotal in deciding who wins the November U.S. presidential election. The court paved the way for the near-total ban on abortion, a law passed in 1864 when Arizona was still a U.S. territory, to go into effect in the coming weeks if there is no future legal action. The law had been preempted for nearly a half-century as a result of the 1973 U.S. Supreme Court ruling in Roe v. Wade that guaranteed a women's rights abortion. 2 years ago, however, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned that abortion precedent. This gave old bans like the one in Arizona, which became a state in 1912, new life. 5 Australian women who were strip-searched and invasively examined at Doha Airport have failed in their bid to sue Qatar Airways. They and other women were ordered off a flight and checked for whether they had given birth after a baby was found abandoned in an airport bin in 2020. This incident sparked public outrage and it was condemned by several nations. An Australian court found the state-owned airline could not be prosecuted under the laws governing global travel. The 5 women filed a claim in the federal court in Australia in 2021 seeking damages over the alleged unlawful physical contact and false imprisonment. But on Wednesday, Justice John Halley found the Qatar Airways could not be held responsible under a multilateral treaty called the Montreal Convention, which is used to establish airline liability in the event of death or injury to passengers. Back to the headlines of the world news. The US President vows ironclad support for Israel amid Iran attack fears. Arizona pushes abortion to center stage before the US election. And Qatar Airways avoid Australian lawsuit over women's invasive examinations. And that ends world news. On to development news. The Japanese government has granted a stock of high-tech scanners valued at $8.4 million to the Katnak International Airport and the Port of Colombo. These scanners have been provided to monitor health issues such as epidemics and contagious diseases harmful to public health, which could be spread by foreigners in the country. The first batch of equipment under the grant for aid was handed over to the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Aviation, Nimal Siripala de Silva, and the Japanese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Misikoshi Hideaki, at the Katunaika International Airport recently, and that was development news.
Moving on with sports news.
In sports news, Sebastian Coe has defended World Athletics' decision to break with 128 years of Olympic tradition by becoming the first sport to give athletes prize money if they are victorious in Paris this summer. Coe said the surprise move, under which gold medal winning athletes in each of the sport's 48 events will walk away with $50,000, was merely a reflection that the world has changed, and said it was time his sport gave more to its stars. However, the decision clearly blindsided the International Olympic Committee, which has never awarded money for participating or winning a medal, as it believes to compete at the Olympic Games is reward enough. And that was sports news.
Go ekak tiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka issued broad guidelines to licensed banks on 28th of March 2024 to further strengthen the functions of already established post-COVID-19 revival units and formulate such units as business revival units or BRUs. The enhanced scope of proposed BRUs will facilitate sustainable revival of viable businesses affected by the extraordinary macroeconomic conditions and ensure the proper handling of the increased impaired assets of the licensed banks. The central bank sought relevant stakeholder views, including the banking industry and the Chamber of Commerce, when formulating these guidelines, and that came to you in Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak tiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Now in economic news, Sri Lanka is in the final stages of negotiations with its creditors, spearheaded by Japan, to suspend debt repayment until 2028. The repayment period will be extended from 2028 to 2042, with a lowered interest rate of approximately 2%. Despite Sri Lanka's appeal for further debt reduction, Nikkei Asia reports that no additional cuts are anticipated. China, being the largest creditor, is participating as an observer. However, the terms of its debt restructuring are expected to align with those agreed upon with other creditors. And that was economic news.
Weather report.
And now on to the weather report. The Meteorological Department forecast showers or thundershowers to occur at times in the eastern and Ua provinces and in the Hambantota district. Showers or thundershowers will occur in most places elsewhere over the island in afternoon. Heavy showers above 100 millimeters are likely at some places in the western, central, Sabargamu and southern provinces. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damage caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. Well, that was the weather report, and prior to concluding this news broadcast, the headlines once again. The Chinese president stresses the need for a fair and transparent environment for Chinese companies to invest in Sri Lanka. The chief prelate of Kotte states incumbent president can successfully implement reforms through own mandate. The ADB says Sri Lanka shows signs of recovery but must maintain reform momentum. The registration for the 2024 electoral register is underway. The Department of Excise to launch a special operation in Colombo City during Aurdu. The Vasat Syria 2024 celebration for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year to take place at the Shangri-La Green Golface, Colombo. International news, the US President vows ironclad support for Israel amid Iran attack fears. And in sports, World Athletic introduces $50,000 prize money for the Olympic gold medalists. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And it's over to Victor Raj on the other side to continue with the rest of the programs this Thursday afternoon. Over to you, Victor.
Thank you, Geetanjali. That was Geetanjali Ramnaika giving you the news on Radio Sri Lanka. I take this opportunity to wish Geetanjali a very, very happy, prosperous Sinhala and Tamil New Year when it comes in 2 days' time, because I'll be meeting her during the New Year days. Well, it's 31 minutes down, 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. This is Radio Sri Lanka. Let's listen to lunchtime music.